Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Let me see who was here first. Uh, Connie Bomber. Hey, Connie Bomber, thank you so much for being here first. And thank you, as always, for my lovely cowbell. I love my cowbell. Thank you very much. Hi, Mary H. Let's see who else is here. Lydia Washington, Carol Lunn, Phyllis Johnson, Judy Matassit, Helen Marmon. Let's see, Sonia Johnson, Rodney Jackson, Beverly McCaskill. Thank you for being here. Oh, now that makes it easy. Connie Balmer, Ingrid Soares, Gwendolyn Daniels, Carol Lund, Judy Matassit, Beverly McCaskill, Rodney Jackson, Sonia Johnson, Phyllis Johnson, Maurice Brown, Fancy. Thank you so much, Joya Moore, and thank you for being here. Thank you for the cheat sheet. There's another cheat sheet. Kathy G, Novi D, Antoinette Kennedy, Balaji Anthony, Lola Love, Maurice Brown, Emma D, and CKM. Okay. All right. I'll say hi to the rest of you as I go along. And Legs is here. Very cool. All right. Let me take the next slide there. Wait. Oh, you know what? That's different from the one for the thumbnail. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Do you all remember the first Christmas in Montecito? Was that their first Christmas? Or was this like the second Christmas when the Sussexes sponsored I believe it was the first annual Montecito Christmas parade. Yeah, I remember that. And you know what? That's like one of the few times that I used a different color for the thumbnail. See there? That was a thumbnail that I used for that. And it just, I don't know, it didn't catch on. I'm just like, nah, back to the blue. Hey, Puzzle Dot. Well, check it out. Oprah not only mentioned Meghan when she was using one of her favorite products, but she even added that to her favorite things list. That's right. Meghan Markle gifted Oprah this Tatcha body care set. Oprah included the skincare trio on her annual favorite things list. Her favorite things list. So if you can possibly, I guess, get it in time, you may be able to send that to someone that you know and love, or you can buy it for yourself. It's called Tatcha. And it's a skincare trio for taking care of your body and soul, I guess. But Tatcha is what it's called. And that is one of Oprah's favorite things. Okay. And check it out. Most played. The most played. There is a not-for-profit called Calibre Audio, or is it Calibre Audio. It's time to announce your audio book of the audio books of the year. Slow down. The audio books of the year. So it says the Ricardo. Wait a minute. Was that Ricardo Man's top our member list? Oh yeah, Ricardo Osman. I'm sorry, Richard Osman. I'm looking at the blue thing up there, and anyway. So Richard Osman, The Last Devil to Die, is the um, most played uh, fiction, the best fiction. Actually, not the most played, but the best fiction, right? It was voted best fiction. And Judi Dench, I believe she's reading Shakespeare when it comes to an audiobook, is what did they call hers? Best nonfiction. Okay, so best fiction, best nonfiction, right? And then for Harry's, his was just the most played. I mean, out of all of them, it was voted the most played by members this year. So Prince Harry's memoir was the most played out of all of the audiobooks that they supply with their selections. So again, this is a not-for-profit, a national charity providing audiobooks to anyone with a disability that makes reading print difficult. So I would imagine that that is someone who is seeing impaired or otherwise, but or maybe someone who never learned to read. Well, whatever the case may be, if you have an impairment, this particular not for profit provides audiobooks to those who can't afford it or just do not have the access to it. And Prince Harry's, again, has been the most listened to out of all the books that they provide. So I guess that must be kind of nice having Judi Dench doing Shakespeare. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. She's known for her verbal skills and having lunch with the likes of Jeremy Clarkson and Hoghead Pierce Morgan, and of course the Queen Consort. Maggie Smith was there, but I'm not holding grudges. But she did have lunch with them. So my respect for her has dropped a bit, just a bit. As they say, you're known by the company you keep. Hi, Joan Garcia. Nothing can stop us now. Let me see here. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry share a fresh look at their garden in their U.S. mansion. That's a weird way to put it. But things are so desperate now. As SK say, they are now writing articles about their plants. They are so desperate. They are writing articles about their plants. Their plants. That's how desperate they are. Ugh. Sorry about that. I had to turn the heat down. It's hot in here. But yes, they're writing about their plants. That's how desperate they are. They have run out of material. So now they have turned to their plants. Next week, they can start talking about them and their work separation again. But they'll think of something. They always do. Real or imagine, they'll think of something. Breaking news. Prince William arrives at Buckingham Palace for pre-Christmas lunch. Yeah, Prince William arrives at Buckingham Palace for a pre-Christmas lunch. Let that sink in. And you all thought I was bad, right? You all thought I was bad. This person needs to have a channel. Whoever's doing the Work Shy Willie, they should have a channel. I am just sloppy seconds. This person ought to have a channel. Yeah, times are getting really low and scary for the left behinders. You're right about that. Yeah. I told you William's not looking too good these days. Don't you love it? Okay, speaking of the Christmas lunch, the pre-Christmas lunch, there is Afro Annie and Tim. Was this Stephen Lawrence? Not Stephen Lawrence. Tim Lawrence. Uh, First Admiral's retired Sir Timothy Lawrence. And holy cow, is that Penny Natchbull? Is that Penny Natchbull in the upper right? Do you see her? Penny Natchbull, Prince Philip's friend and confidant. That Penny Natchbull. What is she doing there? And there's bottom left, I forget her name, but I forget her name. Is it Kato? That's one of Margaret's daughter. That's Margaret's daughter, right? That's Margaret's daughter. And still serving face, you guys. I ain't mad at her. Sarah Cotto, thank you. Chato Akato, still serving face. Princess Alexandra. She is absolutely gorgeous. She is absolutely gorgeous. Poor thing is shrinking from old age. If she gets any smaller, she'll be under the floorboards. But oh, she's gorgeous. Isn't she beautiful? I always thought she was very beautiful. Yeah, she is still serving face card. I think she's got to be about, oh, I don't know, 90 something. But whatever her age, Mama is still serving face card. Face card accepted. Okay, and who else? Oh, there she is. There she is. The U-boat captain. There's the U-boat captain. That's what Princess Diana used to call Princess Michael of Kent, the U-boat captain. I don't know how Diana knew it, but you know, Princess Michael of Kent, she pretended like she didn't know her father was a member of the Nazi party. And so for that reason, you must admit Princess Diana had some zingers, didn't she? Princess Diana had some real zingers when it came to naming someone. She said, "Oh, who heard it? You mean the U-boat captain?" Ah, that was hilarious. That and the Rottweiler. Those are like two of her classics. The U-boat captain and the Rottweiler. Those are some of her classics. But yeah, in case I need to refresh your tea, Princess Michael of Kent decided to give Meghan a welcome into the family that I don't think any of us will ever forget. She showed up wearing that blackamoor brooch for Meghan's first Christmas luncheon. Yeah. And even though every year there are people outside the gates of Buckingham Palace snapping photos, paparazzi and everything. Look at how high up she's wearing it on her coat. She almost has it on her shoulder. It's almost like a shoulder cap. So there's no doubt that that was deliberate. And just for a little background, Princess Michael of Kent's blackamoor figures and sculptures are exotic figures which usually depict African men and were prominent in the 17th and 18th century. In other words, it infantilizes them to a point where they would have all kind of figures and light fixtures and sconces and such, where they would depict people with ebony skin dressed up in these turbans and almost like some type of in some cases I think it was like some kind of sexualization, or I don't know, but it was like some weird obsession, especially with the aristocrats. Well, in particular, they were the only ones who really bothered. But yeah, so there she is at the gates of Buckingham Palace. And just look at her face. Look at her face. She has, I'm going to teach her a lesson written all over her face. And there's Meghan, smiling and ready to get to know the family. Why did she do that? Who knew that Princess Michael of Kent was on the other side of the gate? I'm just impressed she decided to take a car this time instead of her usual broom. Yeah, very wicked. Very, very wicked. So when you hear them try to downplay the family, oh, we're very much not a racist family. Well, I think the apology should have been as loud as the offense. Okay. Thank you very much for that, Lydia Washington. I'm going to pin a link to the top of the chat. That is for a membership to Royal Sussex. You guys, I really, really appreciate your memberships. It is what helps keep this channel going. For as little as a price of a cup of coffee, 1 cup of coffee a month can help support Royal Sussex. So when and if I ever replace this already expensive microphone, it's those kind of things, or like my membership to StreamYard and all those things. So if you can't, totally understandable. But please make sure you always hit that like button. That is another way to support. That way, the commercials will find this channel. The ad revenue is another thing that supports this channel. Alone, it doesn't add up to much. You got to get a lot of ads before it starts making an impression. So thank you very much. Okay, now who else is there? Now there's is that Eugenie and the bartender? And then over in the other car, there's the I think that's Beatrice and the you know, the eye candy, the hot guy, the Italian. Yes, the hot-blooded Italian. And then, of course, oh, you know what? At the top, I totally missed. Why is Edward in the shadows? Why is Edward in the shadows? It's bad enough nobody ever remembers that the Queen had 4 children instead of just 2 children, 3 children. And it's like Edward is not meant to be counted. But there are 4 children. There's Charles, Andrew. Oh, wait, that's out of order. Charles, um, Afro Annie, and then of course Andrew, and then Edward. Edward is married to Sophie, right? Now they're the Edinburghs, but for a long time they were the Prince Edward and the Countess of Wessex, the Count and Countess of Wessex. So there you go. But yes, he's there. He's in the shadows, and there's his frumpy wife, Sophie. Sophie the frumpy. Oh, look at there. One of the kids are in the back seat asleep with his Santa hat on. How adorable is that? Anyway, everybody's inside waiting for the bartender to come so he can start mixing those drinks. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. If there's a birthday, Marcy Foreman, happy birthday. And thank you so much for the super chat. Well, we're going to have to dance for the birthday, aren't we? Yeah, that'll give us something to do while we wait for our drinks. Okay. Let's do it. All right. Thank you very much. And all right. Oh, see there? That's Malapoli and Beatrice. I always call him Monopoly because I can never remember how to say his name. So that's Monopoly and Beatrice. And for some reason, notice that Camilla is arriving without Charles. Camilla is arriving, and it looks like she has her children with her. Yeah, where's Charles? Shouldn't they arrive together? Huh, that's interesting. You guys, I think there's a civil war in the royal household. There's a civil war. Okay. Oh, there you go. Now, let's have a little flashback, shall we? When it comes to the annual Christmas luncheon and face card, there is someone who has always reigned supreme. And that, of course, is the Duchess of Sussex. Never has anyone ever showed up at that family with a face card like that since Princess Diana. Face card, undeniable. Just serving face. Nobody cuts an image while riding in a vehicle in that family like our Duchess. Gorgeous. No wonder they were so jealous. And getting younger by the day, aging backwards. Yeah, I saw those people going through the gate, and I'm just like, you know what? Yes, Meghan's face card never declines. Always accepted. Looking absolutely gorgeous. That was, you know what? I have to go back and try to find those videos. I'd like to see that again. Oh, is that another one? I forgot I had 3 slides. I forgot I had 3 slides. There you go. There you go. Well, thank goodness she ain't over there with them folks no more. Okay. And then I found this quite randomly. Now, this was Christmas 2021. Now, you have heard me say several times they love to weaponize the Queen's age. Have you heard me say that? Here is a prime example. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry aren't expected to fly back to the UK for Christmas this year, even though 95-year-old Queen Elizabeth is in frail health and lost her husband in April. Remember, Philip is in hospital and the Queen is 94. Philip just died and the Queen is 95. And they repeated that over and over and over again. Philip's in hospital and the Queen is 94. Philip just died and the Queen is 95. I mean, just over and over. And I'm just like, well, what are they supposed to do? Put their lives on hold? They're supposed, because listen, you don't want to wait. Now, if they would have decided, well, we can't leave until the Queen probably would have lived to 110. Just to be spiteful, she'd have lived to be 110. The Philip's in hospital and the Queen is 94. Philip just died and the Queen is 95. Yeah, well, there is a Boeing 747 pointed to Canada, and I intend to be on it, okay? Well, I can't help you with these birthdays. I'm on my way out of here because you all don't know how to act. And see what I mean? There's Charles arriving separate from Camilla. There's Charles arriving separate from Camilla. King Charles arrives at Buckingham Palace event after Kate and Andrew drop out. Well, what about William? He dropped out too. Why are they only mentioning Kate and Andrew? You guys, there is a civil war in that family. I can't help but think that there is something really big going on. And the royal reporters, some of them, they know about it, and they just won't tell us. They are not doing their job. I want to know what the stink is. So let's listen to.
Friends, and move along quickly, because there's absolutely nothing to see here as Buckingham Palace reveal in advance of Charles's most prestigious, biggest royal gathering ever, which is today, his annual Christmas lunch, where nearly 50 of the royal family attending. It's revealed that Kate and William are not going along. And the statement also says, which is weird if you ask me, it's absolutely nothing, zero, to do with the fact that Andrew is not going as well. Strikes me as odd. The press, and particularly the Daily Mail, have built this event up to be the biggest thing since sliced bread for all those lucky people that the taxpayer are funding and can turn up in separate vehicles with separate security to have a 5, 6, 7-course lunch. Who the heck knows? It's been built up. Kate and William don't want to go. What the is going on in that family? Kate, where's your Christmas card? We're all waiting for it. I thought I might get a personal one this year. No such luck. Comments are open, guys. Let me know what you think about the weirdness.
So that is Martin. And on TikTok, his channel is called Ministry of Hacks. Ministry of Hacks. And there is another one of his fantastic observations about that clan. Family, not clan. Family. I don't know why I keep calling them clan. Lex says, separate cars, not environmentally friendly. Thank you very much for that, Legs. Oh, and thank you, Lydia. I don't know if I rang the bell for you, but thank you very much. So there you go. Yet another clue, another indication that all is not well with the Windsors. But I have to tell you, they are concealing whatever it is very well. I just wonder what's going on. Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I wonder about that. There was that one, what was it, Globe magazine or whatever paper that showed that picture of him on the doorstep. Let's see, Prince William and Kate Middleton pull out of Buckingham Palace pre-Christmas lunch. They just, I could see if they would have given prior notice, but they just decided not to go. I think that they're probably on separate vacations. The Prince and Princess of Wales and their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, will not be at the King's annual pre-Christmas lunch today with the rest of the extended family. And as the Ministry of Hacks said, that they were making this big deal out of this being the biggest gathering of those misfits ever. The Prince and Princess of Wales will not be attending the lunch at Buckingham Palace today. I understand they look forward to spending time with the family next week at Sandringham and have already traveled to Norfolk. I'm getting the impression this was always the plan. Now, that was not always the plan. That is what they are saying to cover for it. Just like, oh gosh, what was that? Oh, it was something. And Becky the Blob, she said, well, it was, that was when it was when William dropped out of his New York trip. And she said, well, it was always understood back in July, he said he wasn't going. No, he wasn't going because Harry was going to be the real star of the show in September, which Harry went from group to group, meeting to meeting, setting to setting, one after the other, and reigned supreme. Harry was the hottest ticket in the United Nations, the hottest ticket. And William knew that he could not compete with his brother. And Rebecca English said, well, it was always understood. It was not understood. He did not want to have to look up to his brother, showing how you really get stuff done. William was supposed to be there. That was climate week. That it was all about the climate. And if you have a prize where you're giving out awards to people that are trying to work on sustainability and all of that other stuff, why wouldn't you be there? Because you were afraid of your brother. That's why you weren't there. Afraid. Didn't want to face him on his own turf. Joan Garcia says, Baron, you're good. I'm so sick of the British haters. They get on my nerves too, trust me. Thank you so much for the super chat. Well, yeah, they make me get gas sometimes. Okay. Prince Andrew frozen out of Royal Christmas. All right, so he has the front page of the Express, and there's Willie. I guess actually I have no purpose for sharing this except to show you how bizarre he looks. How bizarre, how frail, how strange he looks. If I were to find out that he was in some program over the Christmas holiday and early into the next year, I wouldn't be surprised. If you ask me, both husband and wife seem like they could benefit from a program. What program is not clear, but they both seem as though they could benefit from some type of intervention, right? Tough love and all that kind of stuff. Now, they were so desperate. The derangers were so desperate to put a Christmas card out. They were in fear that there would be no Cambridge Christmas card, that they decided to AI a card. They created one. I absolutely love this photo of their Royal Highnesses, Prince William, Princess Catherine, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. What a beautiful, loving family. The only thing is Photoshop. This is not real. This is Photoshop. They were so nervous. I repeat, they were so nervous that there were going to be no photos that they just manufactured one. It looks, as you know what, this Photoshop looks better than the real thing. This looks better than anything Kate could have contrived. Yeah, this looks much better than anything Kate could have contrived. But I do believe that it is AI. I mean, I've searched for it and searched for it, could not find it anywhere. Yeah, I believe that it's AI. All day long, AI. Yep, if you know better, let me know. But I do believe it is AI. Interesting. But I tell you, they never looked so good. They never looked so good. Okay, what did I miss here? Lex says William is trying to put out too many fires. He wants to hide his indiscretions and reclaim dominance. He is going against Charles III, Camilla, Kate Middleton, Kate and the Middletons, etc. Okay, do tell. Well, whatever these alleged fires are, I would like to know what they are. I would love to know what they are. Thank you for the super chat. But it just seems to me as though there is something very, very scandalous happening. It all started with Kate's, well, at least the public face of it started when Kate disappeared for 6 months. There was no confirmed sightings of her. None. They even used a body double, of all things. But just remember, December the 28th, 2023, that was when there was that motorcade racing from the Sandringham estate toward the hospital. And then January 17th, Charles has surgery. Kate has surgery. Charles has cancer. Kate has cancer. But they neither one of them had cancer initially. Both of them were cancer free. They didn't have cancer until they did. Okay? They did not have cancer until they did. And the curious case of Thomas Kingston. Oh, you guys, that was like one of the best facts and 2 cents ever when Pedo was doing her thing on Thomas Kingston. Oh, that was good. That was amazing. Yeah, she's not going to come back as full time. I don't think she's ever going to be a full time. Oh well, one of the reasons why you can tell this is a AI photo is because if you notice, Kate's mouth is not askew. If Kate's mouth is not askew, and wait, William is actually his smile doesn't look creepy. You know what I mean? A real Prince William smile always looks like, well, you know what it looks like. If that was a real Prince William smile, it always looks like a grimace. It always looks like he's facing the executioner, right? Vaughn says they look scary like the people from the movie Children of the Corn. I don't know. I rather like this photo. I like this one. I still believe that it's AI, but it's a good photo. They wouldn't seem so weird if this was actually the real people. But alas, you guys, I have to show you. This is the Christmas photo. This was released about, I don't know, 12 hours ago. After everybody kept asking and asking about it, they finally released this photo. And you probably recognize it from Kate walking through the woods, jumping up on a bale of hay, rolling on the ground with William, pretending like they actually do stuff like that. The children looking on in despair because they can't believe that the two of them were actually touching each other, let alone making such a spectacle of it. But yeah, that is that is the that is the actual Christmas photo. So it's a nice photo. The parents look rather awkward as usual, but I haven't had a chance to count fingers. I haven't had a chance to investigate the layers of clothing. But this is actually brilliant because this is the same outfits that they wore in the video. So chances are it is authentic and real in every way. Now, look at that one on the left. Kate and kids secretly living with her mom. Kate and the kids secretly living with her mother, which would explain why Charlotte burst into tears when she saw that beard. And I'm not talking about Kate either. That's the mom. She's got those sly, slick, sneaky looking eyes. Oh, she's a scary customer. Actually, she's not a customer. She was, oh, never mind. But she was never the customer. in one of them houses. In one of them houses, those kind of houses. Not that they, just look like from one of them houses. I don't know that they ever been to one. But I digress. Um as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh, so that explains why Charlotte was so spooked when she saw the beard. That explains it. They said that Charlotte burst into tears when she looked at her father and saw his beard for the first time. Now, beards grow gradually, they don't just show up. You get that, 5 o'clock shadow or whatever, and then progressively from there, next thing you know, you have a beard. But they said Charlotte literally burst into tears when she saw his beard for the first time. Why would that happen? If the two of you you're in the same house. You're in the same house. You were sleeping when someone burgled the place, right? Wasn't the family asleep when that happened? So how in the world would she be in tears all of a sudden? I don't understand that. Unless she hadn't seen it before. Right? That's the only thing that makes sense. How else would that have happened if she hadn't spent time with her father? I told you guys a long time ago that William does not live at that Adelaide cottage. I believe that he maintains a place in the Windsor Castle. And if he doesn't want to be there, he can always go back to Admiral Hall. He could always go to Kensington Palace with all those bearded staff people. He can go pretty much any place he wants to go. He has an 8 million pound helicopter. So he's free to roam. But the truth is, the real truth is they won't say. We don't know for certain, but we can still, throw it out there. We can ask the question, do they live together? Ooh, okay. Okay. No, they won't be homeless because they're trying to get them over to that Royal Lodge. They're trying to, and maybe, you know what I just thought of? Maybe they want to get Andrew out of the Royal Lodge so that they can give it to the Middletons, right? Maybe part of the negotiation between Will and Kate and their lawyers and the courtiers, maybe in order to make sure that the Middletons are safe, in order to give them a place to live in one of those grace and favor homes, they want to get them into that Royal Lodge. Maybe they feel as though there's some kind of stigma about them going to Frogmore, as though it would be beneath them because it has been made so infamous by the hate campaign. So they would much rather get them over to the Royal Lodge. But that seems to be just as tainted. So where else could they go? Where else could they go? But they have a lot of properties. But I'm sure they would want something in a nice central location. And since the Buckingham Palace is going to be kind of out of commission for a while with a 300 million pound makeover, then chances are the Royal Lodge would be just perfect for them. I don't think it would be enough room for them at Kensington Palace, the poshest housing estate, housing projects in the world. Now, you guys, oh, let me go back because I think we're not done with that yet. Lex says, "What is up with them trying to get the Royal Lodge? Anne and Edward has a big place. Why the interest in Andy's place? Is it because quid pro quo?" Um, Punishing Andrew seems to take a lot of the negative attention away from Charles right now. So that's one thing, that a purpose that it serves. By the way, thank you for the super chat. The other thing is Royal Lodge would be considered a worthy place for the mother of a future queen, for the father of a future queen. You know what I mean? They probably need to get out of Buckleberry, or they want to get out of Buckleberry. And I'm pretty sure that being the mother of the future king, Kate would want something worthy for her parents, especially if her mama told her, you know, you got to go to St. Andrews if you want to marry Prince William. You got to get Royal Lodge if you want us to live in a place that is worthy of the future queen consort's mother. So, in a way, I think that Royal Lodge is a bad choice because you'd have to kick Andrew out, and that's going to be a bit of a stink. And also because Andrew has lived there in the first place. If there is a portfolio of royal properties and they were offering me lodging, I certainly wouldn't want to go to either one of those because of how much attention that they've gotten in recent years. But maybe Carol Middleton fancies that particular property. Maybe she fancies that property and just really wants to live there. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I have been trying to understand this whole thing with Andrew for the past week. Also, I should say, someone in the comment seemed to labor under this assumption that I am trying to um, make Andrew sympathetic. I certainly am not. But I see there's a okey doke. There's something at play because Andrew is the distraction. Andrew is a distraction. Now, I'm glad that they're not going after the Sussexes and that they're going after him, because I'd rather them leave Harry and Meghan alone. And right now, they just don't really have much material. They have to keep running back and forth with different things. And they know they're not going to see the Sussexes for a while. So better to go after Andrew. But I think this whole spy thing is bogus. It's like it just comes out of nowhere. And that person that they have accused him of consorting with, this person has pictures with prime ministers, with the queen and all kind of people. He spent half of his adult life, the so-called spy. He's lived in the UK half of his adult life. He has business. He considers the UK home. It just doesn't make sense. It's something that they don't want people to talk about, so they're picking on Andrew. That's why I want him to go to Christmas. And also, I think, as like I said, his grandkids don't deserve to be punished. And I think it's such a silly thing to single him out for. And it seems like they're just punishing his grandkids and his daughters. I don't think that's right. He hasn't done anything different. If he could go last year, he should go this year. Nothing has changed. But in order to turn up the heat, now he's a spy, or he's been talking to or consorting with a spy. I just think is bait and switch. They want us to pay attention to that while something else is going on. I like to know what it is. So that's it. Um, and then of course, then the Will and Kate drop out of Christmas. There's a war. Kate and the kids go to Royal Lodge. William goes to Windsor. No, William stays at Windsor. The Queen lived there until she was 13. The Queen Mother lived there from early in her marriage. Okay. Oh, you're talking about the Royal Lodge. The Queen lived there until she was 13. The Queen Mother lived there from an early in her marriage. Okay. Yeah, the Royal Lodge is a pretty nice place. It's a big place and is on the royal estate, which makes it very safe. It's in the Great Windsor Park. And that is a vast property, lots of privacy. Lots of privacy. So it just makes sense. And then, of course, since Carol and Mike are getting up in age, you know, the next big coup for them is, can we be buried in the royal cemetery? They're going to want to be buried in the royal cemetery. That'll be the next thing that they do. Notice how Frogmore is still uninhabited. They knew that they wanted the Sussexes to have less than everyone else, literal red-headed stepchild. Thank you so much for that, Legs. Yeah. Harry was not ever supposed to outshine anybody else in that family, let alone Will and Lazy Kate. That was never meant to be. That was supposed to never be a thing. But yeah, you would think that there was gold buried in the cellar of Royal Lodge, the way that they go on about it. But they're certainly not going to buy a property for the Middletons. And it does make sense. It does make sense. The other thing is, what if they're trying to put Kate in Royal Lodge? What if they're trying to put Kate in Royal Lodge? They were so nervous that they were going to give it to the Sussexes, if I remember. And then, of course, there was that big lie that they told that eventually they were going to give Clarence House to Harry and Meghan. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But they said that, like, I believe right after the Sussexes left, there was this thing about them. Oh, in the future, we were going to give them Clarence House. What is that? You know what? You just made me think. And that is, what if they want Camilla? What if they want Camilla there, which really means that her family would be there? You know what I'm saying? Hurry up and get Camilla in there. And then hopefully, when Camilla's gone, they don't have to give it up. Because whoever goes into Royal Lodge is going to have a lease, probably something very similar to what, you know, well, you know what? Probably not. I don't think they're going to do a big lease like that anymore. When they gifted Royal Lodge to Andrew, it was with the idea that his ancestors, daughters, and so on would stay there. Right? But now, of course, if they get him out of there, and maybe that's why he just doesn't want to leave. Maybe it's not because of vanity. If they get him out of there, then he can't pass it down to anyone. Wouldn't that void out the lease? Andrew got them over the barrel because he knows too much. I think he's threatened to write his tell all memoir, and Charles can't have any secrets coming out. If he does that, if he does that, you know they're going to destroy him in the press. You know they're going to destroy him in the press. And it seems logical that Andrew has so many secrets that he's going to write a tell all. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's just like people were saying that when William becomes king, he's really going to show Camilla a thing or two. From what I can tell, they're like two peas in a pod. I don't suspect that that's going to happen. I think they got William just where they want him. So I don't suspect William is going to go on some rampage and seek revenge for his mother. It don't seem like he takes the side of his mother. He sided with the abusers. Mm, well, Frogmore Cottage was the servants' house. Frogmore House, you know, that was the plot. Yeah, what about Frogmore House? Frogmore House, is it that much different from Frogmore from Royal Lodge? Because you have Royal Lodge, you have Frogmore House, and then there's Frogmore Cottage. And just for the people who don't know the difference, anytime there's a cottage that is associated with servants or courtiers, cottage usually means where the servants stay. A house, a palace, a castle is for the senior royals, but a cottage, that is for the help. So Frogmore Cottage was actually divided into 5 separate apartments before the Sussexes moved in. And Frogmore Cottage was in dire need of renovation before Harry and Meghan moved in. As you can see, it just kind of looks like it's been added on to again and again. Well, it is a listed property, meaning that it is of historic value. So Frogmore Cottage had 5 separate apartments as grace and favor property for people serving the royal family. And so it was really no different than Harry staying at the Nottingham cottage, except it's much bigger and more modern, right? So that by itself was a bit of an insult that everybody else has, you know, a hall, a house, a palace or a castle. And the Sussexes, they get a cottage. You never heard of any of those other ones living in a cottage until Adelaide Cottage, which was probably an easy choice, seeing that William has never lived there. I don't believe he's ever lived there. And as things go, I'm not even sure that Kate has been there. Yeah, it's very damp. There's a very high water table. The Frogmore Mausoleum, which is in the cemetery where Queen Victoria and Albert is, that place suffered a lot of water damage. Is kind of swampy over there. Kind of swampy. And it is a cemetery. It is part cemetery and part royal estate, and also the servant quarters, the cottage. And it's all part of the Windsor estate. Oh, Frogmore House is open to the public? So nobody's using that. Okay. Now, when I went to Windsor Castle, they never said that was an option. Oh, Well, you know what? It's one thing to threaten to do it. It's a whole nother thing to actually do it. Mhm. Yeah, I don't know how far he would get trying to do a tell-all. Well, they moved her somewhere. Didn't Charles buy Angela Kelly a house? She was supposed to stay in one of those grace and favor cottages, but Charles wanted her off the estate. And I think in exchange for that, she she's not writing a book. She was going to write a tell-all, right? And then they said that Charles convinced her to leave the estate, whichever one she was in, one of those cottages. She was in a grace and favor, but I believe Charles meant to be done with her for good. So I don't think her memoir is ever coming. And she, as far as I know, Charles purchased a house for her or gave her a house on one of the estates. Probably one of the tenants that died as soon as they got them out of there and cleaned it up. They probably gave it to her. Oh, Frogmore House is a museum. Okay. Or like a museum. Oh, you guys are just full of gossip today, aren't you? I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. I just don't think Andrew is going to write a memoir. There's no way that he could do that and not talk about things. And I think the last thing he wants to do is talk about himself. But I could be wrong. And especially now that Charles has some form of cancer, it would be very much a disadvantage to anyone to say something bad about him now that he has the sympathy that he's always wanted. Hey, Rory, thank you for being here. Yeah, I say a cottage is usually servants' quarters, but the thing is, it was a pretty nice house. It is a pretty nice house. And, Harry and Meghan are not um, hard to please. They were very happy there for the time that they were there. And so I don't want to make it seem like they were slumming it. Anything compared to Nottingham Cottage is an improvement. Esmeralda, the Esmeralda Dylan, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Oh well, now that's something to think about. Bergie can write it for him, and she don't mind saying what she feels. Yes, Frogmore House and Frogmore Cottage are two different places. Now, if you saw a photo of Frogmore House, at a glance, you would think you were looking at the oh God, where's that Andrew stays? You would think you were looking at Andrew's house. They're both big white buildings, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell Frogmore House and Frogmore and Royal Lodge. I couldn't tell those apart. Matter of fact, let me take a look right now. I couldn't tell them apart. Frogmore House and Royal Lodge. Royal Lodge. Okay, there we go. Now we got sound. All right. I don't know what happened. It just went out. Uh, let me see. Take that away. All right. So once again, all right, let's do this one more time and then I'm done with this. That is Royal Lodge. That is Frogmore House. And this is the Frogmore Cottage. So cottage, house, lodge. Okay. Got it? 3 different places. Thank you, M. Covington. Thank you so much for being here. Well, that's the odd part about it. This is a very expensive microphone. It is supposed to be top-notch quality. I am so frustrated and confounded that this thing is not working. And it's just, I could see if I was traveling with it, but it's just here on the desk. I never take it anywhere. So there's no drops and wear and tear and such. And yet this happens. Why? Why does this happen? Oh, you know what? I kind of thought about that too. I kind of thought about that it seems like when I do something very loud, then it goes out. You know what? I don't know what the warranty is on this thing. Thank you for saying that. No, the computer is new. This computer is new. It's not even a year. Well, I think it's like a year old. So the computer's not bad. It's a year old. Okay, so I'm going to go on to another topic. I am going to go on to another topic. We're going to talk about Luigi Mangione. They have made a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Luigi Mangione has so overshadowed the poor person that was gunned down in the streets of New York City. As you can see, they have turned him into a folk hero. This is a depiction of Luigi in his Department of Corrections orange jumpsuit being led away by the New York Police Department. Huge mistake. They overrepresented law enforcement. The goal, well, let me just show you. Take a look at that. This also looks like the cover of some rap artist. That looks like the cover of some rap artist album. See there? New album drop, State versus Luigi. State versus Luigi. They took him from the jail in New Jersey. They paraded him from the jail with a full press corps. And then they drove him to an airport where he boarded a Cessna. He boarded a Cessna and flew for an hour and a half to New York City. Some people have compared it to a scene from the Superman movie. They have compared it to a scene from a Superman movie. And I can see why. It does have that kind of mood to it. Yeah, it does have that kind of flavor. You have all of those officers, state, federal, surrounding him with assault rifles. And somewhere in that crowd of people, is Mayor Adams. The mayor of New York City shows up for the transport of a suspected, accused, person. In other words, yeah, I was thinking Hannibal Lecter too. In other words, you have turned him into something much bigger. And so their rationale is we're doing this so that nobody thinks that crime pays. We're doing this because we want to send a message that no one should try to rescue Luigi Maggioni. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Every time that there is one of those school things that happens, I'm trying to avoid saying the word so that I don't get. But anytime one of those things happens at a school, it brings so much attention to the perpetrator. And you probably don't know the names of any of the victims. And for a young person with a very fragile mind who feels as though they are unheard and unseen, what better way to make a name for yourself than to have, I don't know, 50 officers surrounding you with assault rifles? Oprah doesn't get this security. This is like Joe Biden, right? This is presidential protection. But instead, they're making him into a folk hero, a national hero. They have turned him into a national hero. A lot of the stuff that has been said and demonstrated wasn't even necessary. They could have kept a lot of that to build a case. But instead, we have received a play by play. And then on top of that, he's a good looking kid. So, of course, people are going to pay more attention to him. Yeah, that's a great point. His family is I don't, they haven't said the word billionaire, but there was a governor in Illinois whose family, why should I say, whose business was nursing homes, okay? And I forget the guy's name. It's not Pritzker, it was the one before him. He's a billionaire too. The current and the last governors of Illinois, billionaires. This seems like a movie. This is almost like I'm watching The Fugitive. Remember the movie The Fugitive? This is like a scene out of The Fugitive, or um I don't know, Die Hard, Rambo. It's way Rauner. That's right, Rauner. Bruce Rauner, right? Well, and those eyebrows. I mean, come on. Those eyebrows are I think those eyebrows have a fan base of their own. And then of course there's this. On social media, there are all kind of memes. There are, oh gosh, what is it? what is it? AI videos that almost look like it's really him, but it's an AI video. It's amazing how they can do those things now. And I agree, it should be Trump in a orange jumpsuit. There's a pizzeria, what looks like a pizzeria. They have a big poster of Saint Luigi. And if you look on the right side, this was the news coverage in case you missed it this afternoon. The news coverage was from the time Luigi left New Jersey, from the time he walked out to jail, there was live coverage until he appeared in court in New York or in jail in New York. So for about 2 or 3 hours, there was live coverage. This was seen live across the country and probably around the world. They have built him into something that he should not be. I don't know how they thought that this was supposed to send a message to deter people. If anything, it's going to encourage the next person and the next person. Now, I'm not saying that they should have hid all of this stuff from the public, like a motive and all of that. But what they have done today was the worst possible thing that they could have done. This only makes a bad situation worse. Yeah, yeah. Well, the other day I did do that comparison of him and a couple of other people. Let me see here. Luigi Mangione back in New York to face charges. And then take a look there. That is, I don't know was that Spain or where is that from? Luigi Libero. So that's what, Liberty? That means free him, right? Free Luigi Mangione. I forgot what country that was from. Sorry about that. But so around the world, people are looking up to him to as a symbol of someone who has gone after greed, someone who has confronted corporate greed. Oh, it's Italy. Thank you so much for that. Now, speaking of greed, that is Charles the Third, Charles Rex. That's Latin for king. Charles Rex. King Charles, Charles Rex, Charles R. Rex. Um, look at his face. Don't you love that face? Don't you love that face? That is wickedly funny. Yeah. It's like, yeah. Anyway, they say Charles has photos of Harry and Meghan at Highgrove home for all to see. Now, I don't know when this photo was taken, but as you can see, there's Charles and William and Harry. See there? On the left, there's the coronation photo. And on the right side, there's the wedding photo. Yeah, there's a wedding photo. So allegedly, supposedly, someone says, and they say this is like an olive branch, right? A nod, an olive branch. You know how they always use the same language. Uh, I don't know if I'm buying that. And why is the wedding photo in a dollar store frame? A dollar store frame? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Everything that those people do are quite deliberate. And you mean to tell me Camilla Godzilla, the queen consort, is okay with that? If I can quote Arnold Schwarzenegger, not on your knife. Not on your knife. King Charles Windsor used the royal train once in 2023. He went to Pickering and spent less than an hour there. Taxpayers paid £652,013 for this. It's time to scrap the royal train. Not only that, but the storage, and I wonder if that's what that price is. I believe it cost a fortune just to store the royal train. They're paying a fortune to store the royal train, which they're not even using. If they're not going to use it, which I doubt, I really doubt if they will ever use that train regularly, then it should go to a museum. It really should go to a museum. They have Queen Victoria's carriage at the museum in York. They ought to send the rest of the train to York and just leave it there, because I forgot what the annual cost is. That may very well be the annual cost, but I remember it was an astronomical number. It wasn't like, you know, parking a car in a garage somewhere. It was uber expensive. And of course, that is the same billionaire king who doesn't pay taxes, is immune to the law, owns inherited places, castles, and land because his ancestors took them by force, arrives in a limo at a food bank for poor people who can't afford to feed themselves or their kids. Just another day in Absurdistan. I love that. I don't know who wrote it, but that is awesome. But wait, things are getting even worse for Charles III. 59% backing for independence referendum. Um, Backing for Indy if we get rid of royals. They believe that Scotland, this is Scotland, of course, they believe that Scotland would have 59% support for a referendum to have independence. But that's without the royals. Now, usually the referendum includes keeping the royals, but this particular referendum, 59% backing if they get rid of the royals. Removing monarchy adds 5 points to the level of support recorded by previous polls. 5 points. You would think it would be less. It's actually more support for independence if you get rid of the royals. Now, it was said before that if Scotland gained independence, then, of course, Charles would remain king. Or Elizabeth at the time would remain queen. But now, not so much. Not so much. If that referendum passed, there would be no king or queen. There would be no deference at all, because I suppose Charles would be written out of the law, and his ancestors and their titles. Independent, I'm sorry, independent support at 59% if Scotland ditches monarchy. Now, they should be very nervous about that. Very nervous. Yeah. Oh, you mean because William refuses to wear a kilt? Is it because William refuses to wear a kilt? William has not worn a kilt since he was a kid. He just refuses. He ain't going to do it. Yeah, he wants all the attention. He just doesn't want to do the job. Breaking 59% of people would back Scottish independence if it means removing the monarchy and becoming a republic. A new Norstad poll has found. And I like that one. You better. You better. I do the word Scottish accent. You better. It's coming, and it won't be criminally manipulated and fiddled with this time. So I suppose that people believe that the last poll or the last referendum was tinkered around with. But this time they're like, no fiddling around with it. We're going to make sure there's no manipulation. That is a real, honest to goodness poll, referendum. Would being a republic increase Scottish independence support? Yes. See there? But as an independent country, 54%. As a independent republic, 59%. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. I mean, that is staggering. Getting rid of the royals adds another 5%. Yeah, it is a reminder that they have been conquered. It reminds them of conquest. The fact that they snuffed out the last real Prince of Wales. Good news. Melanie Hobson is the CEO and president of Chicago-based Ariel Investment, one of the nation's oldest Black-owned management firms with $14.5 billion in assets under management. And she made the Forbes Black 50 Forbes Black Power, Wealth, Impact, whatever the list is. She's on that list. And so is a lot of other people that you probably heard of, like a Tyler Perry. So, yeah, if you are interested, there's a list of 50 African Americans that are so rich that they made this list. So I haven't had a chance to go through the list, but I'm going to make it a point to do that because I want to see who's on the list. Also, Kamala Harris, thank you, Vice President Harris. She's in the Power issue of Ebony Magazine. Very cool. Eamon Holmes, co-host. Eamon Holmes, co-host, is suddenly replaced, and another GB News presenter sacked in huge pre-Christmas shakeup. I tell you, two things that should never happen: termination or layoff just before Christmas. Just before Christmas. I think that is so bad. You know, let people enjoy their last Christmas as an employed person. You know what I mean? But yesterday, there were these very cryptic and bizarre messages from Mark Dolan. He says, some big news is coming, right? And then later on, he said, I've hosted my last Mark Dolan tonight on GB News. More to follow. And then if that wasn't enough, GB News has made the decision to permanently relieve me of my duties at the channel. I will speak publicly about this in due course. Now, that is very, very polite. That is a very erudite way to say they fired me. I got fired. sacked. And Omid Scobie, who I just adore, you all know that. I don't pretend. I adore Omid Scobie. Um, what was it the other day? He just decided to say what a lot of us have been thinking. Requirements to become a royal commentator or expert in 2024, 2025, zero journalism experience, be totally unhinged, an unhealthy interest in kids you don't know, hardcore royalists, happy to do GB News crap YouTube shows for pennies, limited vocabulary, own a USB mic. Okay, my favorite is work for pennies. Yeah, the working for pennies. It does not pay a lot to appear on GB News. And for someone who is a guest of the show, even less. GB News is so bad off that they actually have a fundraising apparatus on their channel where they want you to donate to their major network television show. Kind of crazy. It'd be like CNN or MSNBC soliciting donations. Well, that is what they're doing at GB News. Um, they came on strong. They really came out very strong. But as their content became even more disturbing, more and more sponsors dropped them. And that is why they are where they are today. And Talk TV, I haven't seen it in ages, but I suppose they're much in the same shape. But I think they do get more viewers than GB News. I think so. But anyway, you guys. Oh, I got one more super chat. Uh is Mark Broco Mono or Jobo don't Ono? That is very clever. Is Mark Broco Mono or Jobo don't know Ono? I get that reference because Mark Dolan, he has constantly referred to Meghan in that disparaging way, trying to compare her to Yoko Ono. And he was calling her Mono Ono. And now who's moaning? Now who's moaning? Yeah. Um, Mark Dolan, his background is a comedian. He's actually a comedian, but like most people, for a chance to work regularly, he'll take whatever he can get. So, but thank you very much for that. And thank you, Sussex Squad. That is it for now. Love you guys. I will see you next time. Let me see here. Okay, I think we're good. Um, don't forget, we're going to have our usual New Year's marathon. 10, no, I'm sorry, 11:30 Eastern time, East Coast time, and we're going to stay on until the West Coast sings Happy New Year. Yeah, we're going to stay on that long. Plus Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, all of those things. Yeah, that's it. So thank you very much, Connie Balmer. Good night, Poliva Girl, Lola Love. Good night. Oh, sure. I have to do some research about that though. But yeah, we can do that. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of sleepy myself too, believe it or not. All right, love you guys. I will see you next time. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And thank you, moderators, for keeping this the safe space. And I am going to have to do some research about this possible civil war within the Windsor household because I am intrigued by that. I've been looking for Celibici to say something about it, but I haven't seen anything. But gosh, nobody's really talking that much about it. But I feel like there is something strange going on with that family. I don't think Willie and Charles are talking, and I don't think Camilla and Kitty are talking. So if you know otherwise, let's talk about it next time because I'm going to be keen. I'm going to be like Kate. I'm going to be keen to talk about it. Oh yeah, Helen, that is a bit of a puzzle, isn't it? Especially since we all know the Earth is flat. We all know the Earth is flat. But no, seriously. Well, hopefully I'll be on early one day and you can catch us then. But thank you so much. And thank you for your persistence. Everyone who can't watch now but listen later, I appreciate it. Raffaella Bertoni, you're here? I didn't see you here. Okay. All right. Good night, all. Let me see here. Take that away. Go back to the top. Hide my face. And let's end with this one. Yeah, I love Once Upon. No, Madam Duchess. We'll end with Madam Duchess.